Hey everybody, how yous going on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon? Just having a quick squeeze, making sure everything's good. Yeah. What's happening? What's been going on today? Oh. All right. Let's give it a couple of minutes, then we'll get cracking on these demos. Should be quite nice. Bit of a strange time of day to be doing it. I had to, the reason I had to move the live stream time is just private lessons this morning, that's all. So it's good. Very cool. All right, who we got? Who's here? Who's here? Say hello. Make yourself be known. This will be a good little lesson on shadows today, and my approach to them really, and where I see a lot of people, I think personally, go wrong with them. They're easy to go wrong. They're easy to stuff up. They really are. But once you learn what not to do, what to do becomes a bit easier, a bit easier to grasp. So yeah, we'll get stuck in. All right, who we got? Say hello. Say hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Am I in sync? No Timberlake jokes, please, please. All right. What's going on? What's going on this afternoon? Is it warm where you are? Even down here in Hobart, it's pretty warm. G'day, Libby. How you going? It got to 27 yesterday, and I think it's about the same today, and it feels like a scorcher down here. No, it's good. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to start talking about these two pieces and get stuck in. So the first one, you kind of got a little bit of Helen. How you going? Nice to see you there. Nice to see ya. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff, SL. All right, let's have a look here. It's good. I love the cold, but it's nice to be able to wear a t-shirt, and that's about it. Yeah, it's good. But let's have a look at these pieces. First one we're going to do is this one. Whoa, it's wonderful. There we go. Look at that. Oh, makeshift split screen. There we go. All right, so unusual composition. This is sort of what I'm always talking about when it comes to not just looking at a building as a whole or a scene as a whole. Look for little elements within that scene to make it work. And this little scene, this is just a rooftop of an old hut up at Richmond, and it's good. Nice shadow, nice strong sharp shadow on the roof there, and it's a bit darker and a bit lighter, obviously, on the chimney itself. And it's got some cool, excuse me, cool lines and some nice little subtleties as far as going to try and get that sky nice and blue, and have that. I even like that little bit of branch and tree coming in off the side. I really like that as well. And it's just an unusual composition, but they can end up being quite nice. Excuse me, sorry about that. And the second one we'll do will be this one. Obviously, portrait orientation again, so it's a bit of a portrait day, but we've got shadows. Obviously, we've got cast shadows coming from the boat and the old tracks there. But really easy to overdo them and make them look a bit dodge. So we're going to really focus on that. We want a nice, I'm going to go for a nice blue sky in that one as well. And that little bit more hectic blue ocean horizon line that you can see there. I want to capture that, even though it's quite subtle. I want that to be in there. So a couple of nice pieces. I reckon it'll be good fun. It'll be good fun. Anywho, let's get cracking, eh? Otherwise, we'll be here for bloody ever. All right, let's have a look. First one, here we go. So let's just bring it up on the screen. I want to obviously make it a bit smaller for our exercise here. There we go. All right, we got up. There we go. Let's do it. Let's get stuck in now. Hi. Light looks okay there. That's good. Excellent. All right, any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to ask. Whack them in the comments. I can see those comments coming up as you type them. So I really appreciate your involvement. Thank you. All right, let's think of that. Now, even though the top of the roof is slightly angled down, I want to make that just horizontal because it'll just read easier. There. Simple. And just really lightly, just putting everything really light as it is at the moment. Out there. I'll bring that up actually. There we go. About there. Cool. And bring that over. Just feel my way through that sketch. Just getting it blocked in a bit better there, and obviously you have to just correct that a little bit. It's got to go over a bit. That's fine. And there we go. We've got to make sure this works because it's the main element. We don't usually focus too much on chimneys and the like, obviously, but because it's, you know, star of the show type stuff, we need to make sure it works. It does. So that's cool. Because we got, obviously there's painting to be done, but it's not real strong painting, so we don't want anything to shine through underneath that doesn't work, you know. And I'm not going to be painting bricks or anything, because that's just silly. Life's very short. Cut that down about there. About there. That's all good. All right, just want to make sure there's nothing in that sky area really. Just make sure the sky is good. Oh, all right, there we go. Nice blue sky. Just gonna wet the top of the page a little bit, just so. Now I've realised I haven't gotten clean water, which is a bit stupid of me, but that's all right. It's okay. Life's short. It's good. Let's just see if we can make something here. Whee! All right, this is my Paris blue that will be coming in my Schminky signature set, which is being created in Germany as we speak. Amazing. Now this looks quite strong as it goes on, but as it dries off, it gets a really nice sky blue quality to it. So just whack it in there, and then just with some water, just bringing that down. And because I'm moving quickly, it's all going to end up being nice and flat, which is what we want. See all those brush strokes? Doesn't matter, you don't have to go perfect all the way down. Just as long as it's nice and fluid brush strokes, and this is still with that, well, I'd say clean, still with that water coming down. It's good. That should end up being nice and flat. But with a darker tinge toward the top, which I'm going to go back into a tiny bit. So I fear it will just dissipate a bit too much. And it's all good to do that because it's all still wet. You won't end up with any horrible lines. Just keep your eye on it. Yeah, it's good. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Good. Nice. A grey roof. I really don't want much of this roof. Just getting a tiny bit of leftover gunk palette, and I don't mind if this bleeds here, obviously. It's a grey gunky roof that I'll probably tissue some of the gunk off anyway. So I'm trying not to colour in, so to speak, but I am just wanting this section just that little bit dirtier. I've got a bit of a tornado forming there in the sky, so I'll just quickly let gravity do a bit of stuff for me. That's not too bad now. It's just grey. Because there's a lot of light that's shining on that rooftop. So we don't want to go dark or anything. We just want little bits of stuff. Now I'm just going to tissue some of that out, bit of texture, all of that. And I spray a bit just to try and encourage that back down a little. That's what you got to watch. You just got to keep your eye on these things when you're painting. You know, watercolor's not controllable, nor should it be. So you kind of got to be a bit careful and have your wits about you. It's just adding that little bit of texture, rough it up a bit. It's just very light. Okay. So that's cool. I'm happy with that. I am going to dry it off now while it's doing its thing. Okay. So it's all good. I'm happy with that. That'll continue. It's not completely dry, but it'll settle down a bit more still. That's good. Just thinking. Yep, no, good. I'm happy with that. It's sitting quite nicely. Righty. There's a couple of ways you can sort of approach this at the moment. One of those ways would be to put the detail, like little bits of detail on, on the roof and brickwork and all that stuff, and then whack the shadows on last. But gonna go the other way, I reckon. I reckon the shadows first will be good, and then we can put the dry brush bits over the top. I think that will work best for this sort of scene. Now, colouring with shadows. Like, what colour do we use, I mean? Well, you got to have a look. Like, if you squint your eyes and just isolate little bits of those shadows that are there, there are definitely three different strengths of tone in the shadows. So this side of the chimney is the lightest in the shadow. So if you think the shadow that's here on the front is darker than that shadow, but that's still in shadow. So that is darker than the front of this that isn't in shadow, if you know what I mean. But the darker shadow is obviously cast on the rooftop. So it's not just a matter of mixing up a colour all the time. Just go, all right, I've got to do a shadow, so let's go. I'm going to mix up a bluey purple and away we go. We'll put a shadow in. It's not always that simple. It may be that simple in scenes where the shadows are more, finishing touches, but they're sort of the star of the show here. So we want to be a bit more creative about it. All right, so let's have a look. I'm going to use that blue. Why not? I'm talking greys. I don't really want blues or purples here. I want greys. Pretty neutral. So there's a neutral grey there, or a cool grey there. But there's some warmth on the palette here. So yeah, it's getting there. So it just neutralizes it. So it's not warm, it's not cool, it's just a grey. That sounds a bit silly and obvious, but you'll know what I mean. So there's a grey. Let's go over here with some of that. And there's a lighter grey. Let's put a bit more water in it. It's lighter still. Yep. Cool. And what we'll do with this grey This one will be the front. This one will be the side, where it's a bit lighter and a bit waterier. And we'll mix another one for that dark one that's on the roof. All right, a bit of pink or something left there, so that's good. Neutral tint, it's always good. Bit of blue, ultra. So this is the darkest one of the three. Oh, a bit too blue, I think. Yep, bit too blue, there you go, but that's all right. We'll neutralise it with a bit of price, neutral tint. And it makes it darker, but it also just keeps it fairly flat. And that's kind of what we want with that one. Yeah, sort of like we just want real subtle, just subtle. So we're going to go from left to right, me being right-handed. I'm going to go left to right and get some of this shadow in, eh? So there's a bit there. I like that little line there, so that's good. And that's going to come down. Happy there. Right, I've drawn too many bricks on there, but that's okay. No, that's alright, I can do that. And come down. Just want to keep it nice and fresh looking. I don't want to overdo it, overwork it. It's just got to be on there nice and direct. And there are a couple of different little lines here and there. And these are just all those little bits that are coming down as we just, if you look at it negatively, just look at the little bits of shadow and you'll see all these. As I say, not painting individual bricks or anything silly like that. It's all just shadow. We're kind of painting negatively. Yeah, cool. Needs to be a few more of these type. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. So that's good. Now, this second one, which will be lighter in tone and a shit ton easier to paint because it's on the whole side, the whole thing. See, it's lighter. Just keep it straight. So it's already starting to take shape, so to speak. And now we want to get the dark one in, which is all the way over here, and it's disappeared into there. This is that darker one. And you see, if you have a look at the reference, it kind of comes up here a bit and across. Down and in. I can just melt into that. So you got to work quickly, so if you outline things like this, you don't end up with outlines. You know, you don't want to outline anything. You want a nice. That'll be the side there. All right, so as you can see, it's kind of taken shape a bit for us, which is nice. Just want to just pull that out there a bit. Nice. So I've exaggerated, in general, the tone of all three, but you can see there are three distinct tones there. Darkish, light, darker. Yeah, it's all good, all good. What I want to do here is actually, while I've got that colour kicking around, that tone, there it is. Just because there's a bit of it, if you squint your eyes, there's a bit of that shadow sort of vibe. In the roof. And it's it can kind of only be painted like this sort of thing. Just that's right. That'll give us a bit of a starting point. Okay, cool. So boring picture, right? So far, it's not much exciting going on, but have faith, it'll come together soon. We'll dry it off and we'll get cracking. Okay, cool. All right, let's have a squeeze at this now. All looking all right. Yes. Okay, a couple of things I want to do. I want to add a bit of warmth to the rooftop. I'm going to do that just by glazing really lightly, probably just a raw sienna or something like that. Lots of water, bit of raw sienna. Just want a bit of warmth. Yeah, maybe a bit warmer. But I just want to glaze it, yeah. Then we'll be drying it again. So Don't scrub at this because you'll start messing up the shadow. So we just want just that little bit. And a bit more again, just in the, and I'm talking like it's bugger all, but it's just adding that little bit of extra warmth in there. That's all. That's all we wanted, not much. And I'm now just going to dry that again because we have to in order to do the next bit. All right, that'll do. Okay. Bit of blue, bit of burnt sienna. Don't want heaps of it, we just want pretty thick paint, so I'm just using that bit of grey that was there. Just as the moisture. All right. These sort of brush strokes and that you do are so important to develop. They're your little signature, you know, your calligraphy, and that's what will set you apart from someone else is your brushwork. So you have to work on it. Didn't do me any favours there, did it? It's all right. Okay, cool. Now, just going to go do some shingles. Now, I don't think there's any other way to do it. You just got to do it pretty directly. Don't work it too hard. And we start. Remember that it's following perspective lines as well. Not all of them. Don't get bogged down and do every single bloody shingle. It's just silly. Doesn't even have to be right. Just put some marks there. That's all we kind of want for the roof. And you see how that shadow on the roof makes a hell of a difference now. Now we can kind of start getting everything in there now with the shadows. Yeah, that'll do. It's a bit skew if that's all right. And it starts to develop into something that's a bit more, well, realistic may not be the right word, but it speaks a bit more. It's got more stuff to it, you know. And don't be too neat. So good. Just follow your rough perspectives. Yeah, it's going all right. Happy with that. I wouldn't do much else to it. So the shadows are working there, as you can see. What I really need to do to make this rooftop really pop out, I need to glaze over this and use a bit of artistic license and get it a fair bit darker. But first, I just want to re-establish the roof line with a bit of warmer, drier brush mark. Yeah, it's cool. Let's try and dirty it up a bit. It just looks a bit neat and tidy. It's all right. All good. Now I have to push this in a cool direction, I think. Glaze it a bit, but I want to glaze it so that it's not perfectly covered. I still want a few dry brush sort of marks in it like that, but it just needs to be stronger so it makes everything else work. Everything else is pretty strong as it is, but this just needs that bit of help. Yeah, that's better already. Yep, cool. And a little bit of raw sienna. Cool. And we're almost finished. We're almost finished. Now what I want to do is put that little overhanging branch in there. I like it. Let's mix up a bit of green. Don't be afraid of green too much. Okay. And a bit of a branch or something there. Bugger all. Now, the decision is yours. Do I put a couple of birdies in? In fact, I'm going to because I can. Just reassessing that side. Might be a bit weak. Yeah, I think I just need to strengthen that up a tiny bit. Yeah, it's a bit better. It's not as neat and tidy either. It's good. No, but perspective's all a bit off there at the top. That's okay. I can fix that actually. Let's do that. It's a bit better. That's better. Yeah. Cool. Nice and simple, but a really good exercise in that observation about your shadows and your tones, the strength of the shadows. So it's too easy to kind of get into a piece and go, oh, it's a shadow. I've got to mix up a shadow color. It's not as simple as that. There are other things to look at. There are always tones within tones, and you can create different colors, different color versions of that tone, all that kind of thing. So I reckon it's really effective. This kind of scene is a really good way to start looking at things. So paint the shadows first, and then come in with the little bits of detail over the top, and make it sing that way. It's a nice way to do it for sure. All right, 2 seconds. Okay. Just leave that up there for a second, and I'm going to go straight on to the next piece. Has anyone got any questions about that piece and that approach that I took there? If you're listening to this or watching this on the replay, if you've got any questions, just ask away on the comments, no problem. I'll still see them. And I will answer you. I promise. All right, that is good. Sit and have a think about this piece for a second. Drink of water. Let's have a look. Okay, good stuff. Just get that other photo up here. Here it is. Nice. All right, so I'm going to start moving on to this piece. So it's a bit more of a drawing on this. It's not heaps more. It's obviously just a couple of lines and things, but that boat we can make look old and tatty quite easily. Want to get that perspective right, and obviously, of course, the shadows. Shadows are really important, and so I'll just make that a bit smaller. You can sit there with us, and we'll be right. Okay. With these workshops and things, I like to do a nice quick piece and then something that's got a little bit more work involved in it. So hopefully get a bit out of all of it. All right. It's no good, Vic. It was only first one's over, and it turned out quite well. I'll show you. I don't know if you saw it before, but there it is. That's the first just a little sketch. Took about half an hour. That's a nice one. Yeah, the next one's got a bit more involved, and yeah, it's good. Welcome. Let's have a look. I want to have that sky area be quite narrow. And that'll help with that perspective. And the boat I'm going to have coming up to about there. Just going to edge the boat in first. Now when you look at the boat and you actually look at it use it as a proportion tool against the rest of the scene. The boat's kind of the star of the show, but it doesn't take up much room. It's only that one little portion, and it's quite squat as well. It's not a big dominant thing. But there are a few things we want to take care of in it, but a lot of that will happen in the painting side of things. I haven't painted this scene before, nor the last one, actually. First time on both of these. I just want to get them approximately right. Thanks, Vic. And, well, these tracks of some sort obviously look like they've seen better days. That's cool. I didn't do that right. I've got to fix that. Fixie. That's okay. Observation wasn't on my side then. Okay. So what I did, that first one I brought out down the bottom here, when you look at the reference and what gives it that angle is that left-hand side track goes out of the corner over here. So that's about a bit better. And I'm not masking anything out or anything like that, because life's too short, as I'm sure you knew I was about to say that. There's some kind of rough stuff there. Yeah, cool. And shadows, that's cool. Ring of Steel is down. What's that mean? And whereabouts are you, Libby? Sorry. I'd be spewing if I was known as the Ring of Steel. Right. Alright. Cool. I'm going quite blue with the sky on this one as well, I reckon. But I want it to be a bit lighter. And I'm just going to paint straight over the boat, and I'll lift a bit out. So quite strong up here. And just bring it down a little bit. Just water now. Just go back into that top part again. I'm just going to let that settle for a second, and I'm going to come straight into the earthy tones that are in this main attraction, so to speak. I'll leave that, and there you go, want a bit of that horizon there. That's cool. Don't know why I'm concentrating over that side. There's nothing there. But I want this to be quite light. Lots of water in it, so it just dissipates. Yeah, I'm just lifting the boat out. Doesn't have to be perfect, because it's obviously a rough as guts kind of thing anyway. But I want lots of water. I want it to be light. And the reason, as I'm sure you can imagine, the reason I want it to be really light is so the shadows, which is what we're all here for, the shadows really come out of us. Got a little bit of Bordeaux or alizarin, and some transparent orange. Yeah, Vic, I finally had confirmation yesterday that Schminky's opened back up, and my signature set is almost underway in production. So happy as Larry with that. That'll be fun. So I'm just sort of plopping all this stuff on here in order to kind of make it all rough and ready, and different tones and things, just to prepare us all for later on, you know. Little bits of white's good. You know, there's a brick somewhere there. We'll keep that there. Brick. There's a bit of red here and there. That trans orange, let's get some of that quite strong in there. So this bit, it's sort of the easy bit, but it's very important too because it's laying that foundation for us. So you don't want to just go off willy-nilly, you know, you want to take some care with it. Okay. All right, that's good. Now there's some green up there. Ah, right, I see what you mean. Oh, the quality's decent enough, Vic, on those? I was very, very curious about that. I'm so glad if it is. That's really good. Happy. All right. Okay. So it's just a little bit of stuff. Splatty, splatty. Ah, cool. Yeah, I'm just looking at all those little sort of pock marks and things that are around the place. I think that might be the best way to tackle those. The old splatteroo. Bit of water. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, what we have to do, we do have to dry it off, and then we'll crack on. Crack on. Okay, cool. It's good, that's good, that's good. Should take a photo of them and send them to me, Vic. Thank you. All right. So I just made a decision when I was drying that off. I'm going to leave that white, so where the darker ocean is there. I think I might leave it white. I might not, but at this stage, I'm not going to paint it yet. Concentrate on the boat. Let's do the boat. Warm grey. Bit of burnt. Oh, sorry, a bit of raw sienna. Blue. It's a bit too green. Bit of that. Bit of warm grey. Yeah. Obviously this side's going to be in shadow, but I just want to establish the shape of everything. That quite light. Just with a bit of water, softening things up there a bit. Bit too close in tone, obviously, there. So we need to, I think that might be alright. I might have to lift that out a bit. Yeah, that's alright. Now I'm just going in a bit of darks, so a bit of burnt sienna, a bit of neutral, tiny bit of blue. Actually a fair bit of blue. It's a fairly blue kind of shadow. But pretty thick. I don't want sort of weak paint here. I want to just painting these little sort of incidental bits that are coming up. There's no real right or wrong with that section. It's just a matter of keeping your brushwork sort of nice and direct. Same up here. Cool. Just getting that in there so that I can then establish that a little bit. That's too straight there, so I need to curve that around a bit. Curvier, yeah, that's better. shadow. Just exaggerate that a bit. Let's put some kind of mask there. We can do something like that. Bit too weird, that one. Just want to make it sit down there a bit more. Just being darker, trippy darker. Here we go. Do this straight neutral tint. Just want to that connects it all to the sky as well. That's cool. Cool. Happy with that. I'm just going to leave it for a second, but for a bit of burnt sienna or something, just to warm it up a little. Okay. The next part I want to tackle are the railway lines. So there's a couple of little things I want to take care of here. Hey. Best way to do it. It's just two lines. It's a lighter line and a shadow line. So let's not think about it in any other terms aside from that. And the light stuff will be probably like a Bordeaux-y kind of colour, really. Bordeaux, raw sienna, bit of yellow, bit of rust. Hey Carol, how you going? Hey. Nice to see you there. Thank you. Too strong. Mixed it up too strong. Alright, I'm going to put a tiny bit lavender. There we go. And all we're going to do there is just put a nice dark line next to it, and that'll establish those darks that we need to on those rails. So obviously perspective wise we're talking thin, bigger, to the point where we're going quite big here as it comes closer to us. They're just like old tracks, I suppose, like for putting boats on the, might be like an old dock or something. Alright, let's just have a look at this other kind of sunny colours. So I'm just creating a few little marks here and there. Railway lines of some sort, yeah, definitely. They were once parallel, I assume. But okay, that's fine. Now, I'm going to dry this off, and then I'm going to come back in with shadows and then put some details. Actually, I'm not going to dry it off. Might work all right with shadows here as it is. Get some softness. So good thinking, me. Now, color-wise, these shadows, they're over a warm surface, so I'm going to go pretty cool with them. Purpley, sort of a dirty purple. And let's just sort of link everything in together. Yeah. Somewhere there like that, and do the same. Is a little bit of shadowing over that side. Okay, cool. Now there's something here that I'll paint in a second. It's got some shadows casting off that, so I'll put them in while I've got the shadow on my brush. I was going to say on my fork then. It's no good. A bit Freudian. Alright. Now, while that's all wet, I'm going to go in there with make it a bit stronger. I think it's a bit weak. But I'm just going to do pretty much ultramarine just on its own. Just while it's soft. You wouldn't do this if it's already dried off too much. But just while it's wet, you can make these lines nice and soft. I think it'll help us out a bit. Yeah, splashy, splashy. Mess it up. Now we will bring these lines back as well, but it's if you squint your eyes, the shadows, it's kind of working actually. It's quite nice. But as usual, just want to get some of the things here quite strong. Some of these little white bits just look like tops of rocks and bricks and things. So do something with them. Cool, now I'll dry it off. Bit of nail action. That do we like the wide ocean? I don't know if I do. I do and I don't, all at the same time. How annoying. Nah, I have to change it. I have to do it. But obviously I have to do it darker than the sky. So I'm thinking what I want to do is have wonder if that'll be a mistake. I'm just thinking my way through it. Should I do the ocean at the end there? Should I do that or leave it white? Should I paint it blue or leave it white? Paint it blue, leave it white, paint it blue, leave it white. I don't know. It would make more sense to paint it. I don't know. I don't bloody know. I can't make a decision. So I'll fiddle with this instead. Okay. I don't know what this is. I'm not even looking at it. It's just a big manky shape. That's all I care about. That's what I think too, Vic. That's what my gut's telling me. And aside from lose weight, you fat bastard, my gut's telling me to leave it white. As I say, I don't know what this little contraption is here, but it's something. Railway tracks of some sort, aren't they? There we go. Now, use of opaque paint. Can be quite good if you be careful. And when you have a closer look, if you squint your eyes at the screen, there's a fair bit of lavender in the top of these railway lines. So we'll go with that. All right, I need to find a way to bring that boat out a little bit without, and it's obviously done with the light here, but I think I want to go darker at that. Yeah. Now what do I do? See if I can lift a bit of this light out here. It may be too far gone. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that's all right. Now, just going to glaze over that to bring that out with that reddy kind of orangey colour. I reckon that'll work. Yep, that's working. Good. Just got to be a bit subtle. I don't want to scrub at anything. So that's what painting's all about. You got to feel your way through, especially bloody watercolor. You know, it doesn't. It's pretty rare that it behaves itself exactly like we want to all the time. So you've got to be okay with mucking around with it a bit and letting things sort of take over. Let's just pretend there's some sort of red. Something there. Okay. So believe it or not, we're getting there. We're almost there. I do like it. I think a lot of this will come to life a fair bit when we've got the got some highlights and things going on. I need to make more of these shadows here. I need to do more of that. Just a bit more. And Do yeah. Need to dry it off, and then we do some highlights and little dry brush things, and we'll be right, I reckon. Okay. Now, I'm going to redo a bit of that lavender here. It's thicker, a bit brighter. Yep, that's cool. What else can I do with the lavender? Okay, going to get out the jaune and start putting little highlights and things. Usual stuff, not heaps, just enough to start bringing things out a bit. I'll put a white highlight there. I'll leave that. That's pretty cool. It's all messy, all a bit of a beachy, messy scene. I like it. Bit of water. All right, we are almost sorted. Bit of white there is good. Have to. Yeah, that's cool. Bring that back in a bit more. But try and make it look like it's not white paint if you can. It's not too bad. Now, do I do a shadow like across there? No, see, I like that. So no, I won't. what we do now. So it's a good little lesson. So your shadows, shadows have got to be done nice and direct, but in a scene like this where it's all messy and soft edges, hard edges everywhere, you just sort of got to go with it, and don't be afraid of redoing things when it's called for, which is not that often, to be honest. A lot of the time shadows are nice and clean. So if you have a look at both scenes, let's have a squeeze. So just get rid of that. So have a look at both scenes we've done today. And the first one there, it's all just clean, fresh. You couldn't go back in and redo them, otherwise you'll get bleeds and it'll all just messy and muddy it up. Whereas with a scene like this, you can sort of get away with that. You wouldn't do too much more of it because it's all messy, and my approach to that is just to, pile on the mess, so to speak. I've just seen something that I want to do. A bit of Payne's grey sitting there from earlier. I might be wrong to do this, but just to anchor that down a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. Cool. But yeah, you can get away with it a bit more with a scene like this because it's messier and it's less tidy, but you still got to make sure it makes sense and you follow and you observe. If you look at the reference photo, this shadow up here is a lot darker than this one here, which is good. That's going on. It's not all the same. It's not all the same all the time. But anyhow, that's been fun. I really enjoyed those couple of scenes today. Thank you, everybody, for coming along on this weird time, this Tuesday arvo. But it's been fun. What I would suggest, if you can go in and watch heaps of my old videos, check them all out, hit the subscribe and the like button and smash everything there. That'd be great if you haven't already. And we're almost at the magic 4,000 watch hours, which is great. We're getting there. So I appreciate your support, and anyone who feels like making a donation, they can do. The details are on the screen there. No obligation though, just if you feel like it. Thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments below and I'll answer your question as soon as I get it. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'll take photos of these and put them up on the Facebook group. So if you're not part of that group, head on to Facebook and just search Tony White Watercolour Community. Join that group and away you go. You can post anything watercolour related, you're laughing. But thank you. I hope everyone has a good afternoon and a good evening, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye.